I have a plan. At least I'm claiming to have a plan because approximately 6 days from now, this upcoming Sunday, I'm attending a Mordheim event called the New England Mordheim Open, and I have not started my warband yet. That is why I have this sprawl of miniatures and bits just laid out on the table, because I am frantically trying to plan and come up with some sort of warband here so I have miniatures to attend the event with. So what I figured I would do is I would record myself going through this process from scratch building to writing my actual roster list to painting, and upload it onto the channel as a series of vlogs. So that way you guys could kind of follow along with me in the process over the course of the next week here or so, and it will ultimately culminate with a video of the event itself. So with that being said, there is a lot of work to do, so let's jump into it. Alright, so I have my warband roster sheet here, and what I want to do is go through a step-by-step how to write one of these out in case you have never made a Mordheim warband before. Hopefully you'll find this helpful in watching someone else go through the process. So for this event, I have decided that I'm going to play as the Dwarf Treasure Hunters. These were not in the original Mordheim rulebook, but appeared in one of the Town Criers, issue number 4. They also appear in the Best of Town Crier. So I have my copy of that here. I've also printed out the sheet. That way I can just reference it a little easier without opening the Best of each and every time. And I've started filling it out a little bit. So let's jump into the process here. The very first thing is you're going to want to write down your warband type, obviously. So at the top of the henchman side of the two sheets here, we have the warband type, and I've written in Dwarf Treasure Hunters. Next, you can name your warband. I've decided to stay in line with some Warhammer lore, and I picked a Dwarven hold that was close in proximity to Mordheim. That just seemed to make a lot of sense to me, so I've named them the Zufbar Seekers. Flipping to the other page, a very common strategy amongst people that I've played Mordheim with, and what I always tend to do, is take the maximum number of heroes. The reason for this is in the post-game sequence, you're able to do exploration rolls for treasure based on how many heroes survive the match. So naturally, the more heroes that you have, the more of those dice rolls that you could potentially do. Maybe there's other strategies or reasons for not taking them that I'm not aware of, but basically everyone I've ever played with always tries to max heroes in their starting warband. Just seems to make sense. You're setting yourself up for a higher progressive income, so to speak. So looking at the top sheet of our warband here, we have kind of lore and background on the Dwarf Treasure Hunters. It gives you any special information that you need, like special rules for that warband. So just make sure you read through that. You don't necessarily have to read through the lore and fluff unless you like that. But after that page, we have a list of all the equipment available to them, and it's categorized by the type of character that can take that. In this case, there's the Dwarf Warrior equipment list and there's the Thunderer equipment list. And under each of the character types, it will tell you which one of those categories is available to them. Under that, we have the Dwarf Skill Table. This tells you what skills are available to which warriors, which heroes more specifically, and which skill tables they can roll on. So after that, we have the choice of warriors. It says here, Dwarf Warband must include a minimum of 3 models, meaning you have to take at least 3, and you can have a maximum of up to 12, and we have 500 gold crowns to spend. After that, we have the different types of characters that you can take. First one is a noble. That's the warband leader. It says each dwarf warband must have 1 noble, no more, no less. So we know we have to take a noble. So I went ahead and I wrote down noble as the first hero at the top there. Again, going to our strategy of taking the maximum number of heroes, I've decided that I'm going to take all of them available. So for this warband, I'm able to take up to 1 engineer. I've taken 1 engineer, and I'm able to take up to 2 troll slayers. So I've taken 2 troll slayers. After that, it's listing henchmen here, and the only one of particular note is the Thunderers, in which it says that we can only take 5 maximum. So not too important because we're probably not going to take 5, but we know that we can't take more than 5. After that, we have our starting XP, and this tells you how much XP that character starts with. We have these little boxes for the experience points here, and each of these darker boxes shows an advancement. So essentially, the further along that a hero gets in experience, the harder it is for them to gain further advancements. And this starting XP is kind of built into the character's pre-existing stats. So that's to stop a character with really good stats, like a warband leader right in the beginning, from getting a ton of advancements in the first couple of games. So the noble starts with 20. You just count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up to 20. Then the engineer gets 10. Then we have our troll slayers, which each get 8. All right. After that, we're going to flip over to the next page, which is our heroes. It lists any special rules that they have, and also their stat lines, and as I said before, it tells you what kind of weapons and armor are available to them. So moving the stat lines over from that sheet, we have 3 movement for our noble, 5 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 1 wounds, 2 initiative, 1 attack, and 9 leadership. Our engineer, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, and 9. And our troll slayers, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 9. All right, we have that filled out. And then we can transfer over any skills, injuries, special abilities. You can kind of write it in this box here, obviously, unless you're doing a special campaign with some friends where you want to pre-roll on injuries. You don't have to worry about that right this second. You could have something printed out like this so you can quick reference the special rules if you don't want to fill it into the little box there. It's just all terms of preference and accessibility, what you want to do. But some people write out those special skills right in this box if they can fit it, or just the name of it so they know they have it, and then reference a side sheet or their book as they're playing. All right, so that's our heroes filled out. Let's add some henchmen. I've already kind of thought of a strategy, or more or less what I want to do with this warband. So I'm going to take 2 Thunderers and a Beardling. And the reason for that, just again, for transparency, kind of explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. All these dwarves, as you can see, have a movement of 3, which is incredibly slow. So I want to try and maximize my ranged weapons, and the Thunderers have the ability to take crossbows. And flipping back to my hero sheet here, the engineer has the expert weaponsmith ability, which allows the crossbows to gain an additional 6 inches of range, which is huge. So I see no reason to not equip a couple guys with some ranged weapons here and really take advantage of that. So under type, we're going to take a Beardling. And then type here, we're going to take a Thunderer. And we're going to buy 2 of those, 1 of those. We can name them if we want. And we're going to want to transfer their stats over. Same as before. So Beardlings, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, and 8. And the Thunderers, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, and 9. All right, and then for equipment, we know that we're going to give the Thunderers crossbows. I said right off the bat that that was something I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and write crossbow in there. The beardling, I'm going to equip them with, well, this one beardling, I'm going to equip him with a spear. The reason being he's really cheap. He's got pretty low stats. I mean, it's the weakest of the warriors that I can hire. And because of the low movement speed and the low initiative, the dwarves are almost always going to strike last. So the spear will at least have him have the option of striking first. So that's kind of the thought process there. Then he, of course, gets his dagger as well. You always get one free dagger. We get a dagger here. And let's equip some of our heroes. So I want to give my noble a pistol. I know that. And I want to give the engineer a crossbow. Whoa, that's a G. We need a C. Then the Troll Slayers, I want them to be a little different from one another. One of the special weapons that I can equip with this warband is... Where is it here? Right here, the Dwarf Axe, which is 15 gold crowns. Basically what it allows is it allows parry like a sword would give on a D6. So, I think that's kind of cool. The Troll Slayer doesn't really have armor, so they can't wear armor, I should say. So the ability to parry will give them a little bit more survivability. So I'm going to give one of them a Dwarf Axe. And the other one I want to have a double-handed weapon. Like I said, I want them to both offer something different to the warband. All right, and where does that put us at gold? So normally what I do is I write the amount that I've spent in gold crowns like over in the margin here, and then I just kind of tally it up as I go. So let's pull open my calculator app. That way we don't have to rely on my bad arithmetic. So let's see. The noble is 85 gold crowns. Engineers 50, Troll Slayers 50. Then we've done 15 for the pistol, 25 for the crossbow, 15 for that dwarf axe, 15 for that two-hander. Onto this sheet, the youngling is 25 and he has a spear, so that's 35. And the thunderers, 40 apiece with crossbows is 90. So where does that put us at already? Nope. All right, so we have 70 gold left to spend. Big thing. Think. Oh, wait a minute. See, and you always got to double check. I added this wrong. So I have two thunders, which are 40 apiece, is 80. Plus 50 for the two crossbows is already 130, not 90. So I have 30 left to spend, not 90. That makes much more sense. Okay, so let's give a dwarf axe to the noble. Again, for the same reason, being able to have that parry ability. That leaves us with 15 to work with. Let's give a couple hammers around here. So a hammer for the engineer, so he has a better melee weapon. God forbid he has to use it. And his dagger. Dagger here. And then for this troll slayer, let's let him dual wield with a dwarf axe and an axe. A regular axe. And so we've just spent another 8. That gives us 7 left. Let's do a hammer for each of these thunderers. And that would leave us with 1 gold crown. So then the last thing you need to do is figure out your warband rating. And it's really simple. It's just the total XP here. So in our case, we have 46, right? Yeah, 46. And then how many warband members do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 70. So our warband rating is 81. And that's all there is to it. I will probably tweak this or continue to tweak this as the week moves on and I start building out my models. But this at least kind of gives me a base starting place to how I want to build out my models. I know that in the immediate, I'm going to have a noble. I want him to have a pistol in one hand. I want him to have an axe in the other. So probably sculpt the model like that. The engineer, I want him to have a crossbow. At the very least, I'll have a crossbow that I can glue onto his back so I know he has it. I'm probably going to take 2 troll slayers, so I can start thinking about which models I'm going to use for troll slayers. In terms of the henchmen, depends on how many games I think I'm going to get in. If I'm going to do an ongoing campaign, it's usually not a bad idea to just build out the maximum number of units that you can take for each specific one. That way you just have them, right? It's better to paint it all at once while you still feel motivated, and assemble them all at once while you still feel motivated, than have to scramble partway through a campaign. This is probably going to be 2 to 3 games at this event, so I don't think I need to go crazy, but it probably won't hurt to build a couple clansman models just in case, build an extra thunderer, couple of beardlings instead of the 1. But yeah, I at least have my starting point here. So that's going to wrap this vlog up, and if you enjoyed the content, please take the time to subscribe and like this video, and until then, I will see you in the next video.